Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the In the Back Pocket review show. Zach Toohey, Kate McCarthy, Nathan Brown. Now, what do we do on Thursday, guys? We make a bet, we put it together, we put it out to the punters. Now, we did that on Thursday for the Saints game. Let's have a look at what it was and how it went, because, I'm no maths genius right there, but 50% usually doesn't get you a win. Bailey Dale, Matthew Kennedy, fantastic. Nathan Brown, Zach Toohey, you guys unbelievable selections. And Kate, we let the team down, which is unfamiliar territory for you. I'm well accustomed to this area.
50-50, but well, I didn't realise that St Kilda and Mitch Owens weren't going to actually turn up. So if I had have known that going into it, I probably wouldn't have taken him. But yes, he's a Marvel specialist, but not on.
So what's your excuse for Vandermeer?
Just so well. Zach's always talking about how nice.
I've never seen anybody in the history of the game back Vandermeer at anything.
He's on around 2+. He was value. I will stand by that, and I will die on that hill. But Bailey Dale was the one we all should have went to.
Absolutely. So any time that Bailey Dale plays at Marvel, you have to back him. His record there is extraordinary. I don't know what happens to him when he goes outside, but when he's got a roof over his head, it is unbelievable. Every game, pretty much, he gets 25 plus, 30 plus as well. So look, the price for 25 is gone. So you're gonna have to back Bailey Dale for 30 plus if you want some value. But I'm happy.
And not that I'm in the position to be giving out tips, seeing as we both didn't get a leg up. But I think if Sam Darcy's in the side, I would buyer beware of the small forwards for the Bulldogs, because 9 times out of 10 he is clunking it. It's not coming to ground inside that forward 50. So maybe just one to keep your eye on if you're betting on smalls at the Bulldogs.
Well, they're coming up against Richmond this week, which is going to be an interesting one. Matty Kennedy, are you going to be going back to the well with him against the lowly Tigers this week?
Well, I think he might be a regular for me. Baz is getting all the attention as far as trades have gone this year. This guy has been remarkably consistent.
Absolutely.
Like, his form has skyrocketed since he's gone there. 16 goals is the most he's kicked in a season. He's already up to 15 this year. And there's an air of inevitability about him when he plays. He's a perfect doggies midfielder. They've always kind of been accumulators, but he right now is somebody I think I'll be sticking regularly.
Unbelievable hairline as well, hasn't he? The bicep.
If only we could have it all, eh? Some of us at the table are a little bit jealous.
Nathan and I always do Thursday nights for the M's.
Yep.
And whenever the bison gets near it, we just look at each other and we go like this.
He won't be able to take the tablets that you've been taking for about 20 years now, will he, Nathan?
No, he will not be, Felix.
Now, you've been in this caper a lot longer than all of us. You've seen great wins, you've seen bad beats. Where does this one rank that we saw in the group chat a little earlier?
This is as bad as it gets. So in the group chat, a mate of mine put this multi on. Now, this is a big, long multi. Have a look at that. There is only one X in there. So it's a $62 same game multi, and there's only one X. And you go, okay, who is it? Who? Have a look at that. By one disposal. Andy McGrath. Come on, Andy. That is as good a bad beat as you'll get.
Oh, that's tough.
That's
tough. Did anyone get footage of the final bit of the game? Was there any close calls? Because I've had a couple where I backed Tom Mitchell once and he was just running through the middle as if he was just testing out the leg. No need to even go near it. Let's just run the game out and not get hurt. No, we didn't. Kate, what about Brisbane? Because there's one player in particular you want to zone in with them and their premiership chance.
Yeah, well, obviously the injury to Jack Payne is huge, but just for some context around it, so I think he's been their most valuable defender. He's actually averaged more intercept marks than Harris Andrews, and he does that taking the best forward every week for the opposition. So he's only had an opposition player kick 2 goals on him all season. Phil Thorpe, he kept him to 1. King, he kept him to 1. Larkey 1. Gunston and Petty goalless. So yes, he does a job on the best forward. He often doesn't give up goals on them and has an impact for them. So Harris Andrews on the weekend, he gave up 6 goals directly to GWS. That is his worst return in a number of seasons. So for me, it spells danger, particularly because the Lions aren't playing their best footy to start with. Then you lose a key cog in your defensive ranks, and we know how important.
Are you saying Brisbane can't win the flag?
I'm saying Yes, I'm saying they can't win.
Oh, I like it. That is a big
time.
To be fair, this is an element also because once I jump off the lines, they start to play really well. So I'm just hoping that happens again.
Oh, he's going to start calling you Big Call McCarthy.
Oh, okay. So you're going to steal that as well. So we've got something else.
Against your old mob as well. But I'll tell you what's this, the group chat, you know, you got to get your tips in there. You got to get everything in.
And I'm organised and I send it through early. I get what I was sort of my takeaways out of the group.
By far the most organised. And we just have a look at this. This was you sending into the group chat, you know, my takeaway, which I'm putting out there, hopefully be wrong. There we go. You've saved some face there because when I jump, they play well. Payne out equals premiership defence over for the Lions. Okay, so you sent that through on Saturday, which is interesting because one of our producers happened to be listening to the Sunday rub. And let's just have a listen to what Nathan Brown brought up as a topic.
The Lions can't win the flag without Jack Payne.
Lions can't win the flag.
I'm selling that.
Selling, they still can. Harder for them.
Yeah, they can hold.
In my defence, that is a segment where I throw up ideas and they buy, hold or sell.
I got an idea.
I didn't
Throw up your own idea.
Why would I do that? That's such a great idea. I just opened it to the group.
You know what I always say? You say, well, thanks, Kate. Thank you for that idea. Maybe a little an emoji react or something like that.
At that point, I wasn't thinking of Kate. I was thinking of Jack Payne. I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about content. It was a bloody good show
that's great.
Sunday too.
You know what I will add?
tell you that.
Sunday Rub producer, I'll be adding that to my LinkedIn because all my ideas just end up there.
About to say, there's a fair few invoices coming down through, we can tell, so I can imagine you can add another one to the list there. But Brownie, it's time for some of your individual content. What was your key takeaway from the week?
My key takeaway is there is always a diamond in the rough. Now I'm
Usually
going to
Kate
show
sends it in.
you how you find a diamond in the rough with this clip. And Tyrell Dewar, mate, you might never have heard of him. I hadn't 5 weeks ago, but round 6 he only had 5, 7. It's not great reading. He had a 2, but the last few weeks he's gone back and he's played 100% backline last week, round 13, 21 disposals. To do that again, $2.70. 27 disposals he had on the weekend. So there is always a diamond in the rough. Big prices, $2.70 for 20 plus, massive price for 25
That is
plus.
a good get, but did Charlie Curnow kick 4 plus?
I'm not sure why they left that part in.
Why'd you piss Kane off for the week? It's just you one
I'm
out.
not sure why they left that part in, but you win some, you lose some.
Nah, that is
but
a good
he's
bet,
a nice
though.
young man and he's
Yeah.
doing a good job. And any time somebody gets moved defensively, when you know they're going to move defensively and play there for the whole game, a little bit like Colby McKercher did, and we'll talk about him a bit later, but you back them because it's the easiest position to play, half-back flank, back pocket, general defender, whatever you like. If you don't get 20, don't ask for a game Monday.
If they've got a bye coming up against Collingwood.
He won't get
tough ask.
25 that week.
He's not going to get. Okay, you're going there. Okay, fantastic. Well, you know what? Let's just segue right out of that. Zach, what was yours?
Yes, there's value to be had in this Cats forward line. So you talk about teams trending up and down. Well, the Cats are clearly trending upwards and their fixture softens big time in the back half. So they've got Richmond twice, St Kilda, North Melbourne. They've got Essendon again, who they beat by the best part of 100 points. So we know Jez is always going to kick you a few goals. You can always look at him for your same game multis. But I think there's value in that forward line now. Danger's become a regular goal kicker. Tyson looks far more lively than he did early in the year. Close. Ollie Dempsey you can start locking in
Scratcher.
just about
Scratcher's
every week.
hitting the scoreboard as well.
And Scratch and Neil's kicked a couple of bags in the last month, which he hadn't done in his career up till then. So you look at Jez, I mean, he's almost an unbackable favourite, but for me, can't see how he doesn't run this season out really strongly and take out the Coleman. I'll be looking in the front half of the Cats for my multis now.
Yeah, I'm still big on Jesse Hogan. I don't think you can kind of argue against the fact that Jeremy Cameron should kick a fair few goals in the back half of the season because he's done it against very good opposition. But I still am keen on Jesse Hogan. He's got their fixture is Gold Coast twice, still got West Coast, North, Geelong, the Bulldogs and the Saints, who I think are starting to really show that they aren't really competing very well with other teams. So I think the two of those. You're still big on Ben King though?
No.
Not as keen as you were.
I think Ben has run his
Probably
race.
run his
to be
race,
honest.
yeah.
Just
fair.
waiting for you to throw something into the WhatsApp group and then he'll know what he's keen on coming together next week. But it is time. There's something coming for me soon. There's time for Magnet Movers.
First magnet mover, I spoke about it before, but it is Colby McKercher. So he was going absolutely like a busted a couple of weeks ago. So then he moved back, 100% backline time the last couple of weeks. Big numbers, 35 and another high 20. So the magnet movers, you got to watch for them. You got to try and keep your ear to the grindstone, as they say, Zach Tui. And
eyes on the WhatsApp.
Yeah, or the WhatsApp when Kate puts something in.
Ear to the grindstone.
Yeah, that's it. That's a saying. I'm pretty sure it is.
Is that a new one?
I'm
Because I
not
think we
100% confident.
might have
I'm
mixed up too,
75% confident that
Pretty sure.
it is some sort of saying.
Well, I'm 98% confident that
Yep.
Mitch McGovern spent that much time in the forward line. He moved forward. He's my magnet mover. 98% time forward, 2% in defence. He kicked 3 goals, yes, against the Eagles early in the game, but for me, he looked quite dynamic in the forward line. He looked like he was offering a fair bit more than he has off the half back. So I think, yes, we'll keep a watch on it, but I would be big on him the next couple of weeks to kick 1-2 goals in the game because he did impress me in that position.
Especially with Curnow looking like he's potentially going to be out as well, so a little bit more confidence there.
Yep, so Curnow missed. He was sort of subbed out of the game early, just yet to see how serious that injury is. It might have been a bit more of a precaution, but he's offered them something that we haven't seen down there for a little while, and Harry Mackay didn't play. Still a question mark as to whether he'll be back next week or not.
Oh, good week to be a stinger, but it is time for the market movers. The pies are rolling at the moment, dude. Is that where the futures king, Zach Tui, is going to play? As we have a look at the premiership market at the moment, right now there's a few movers throughout it. Collingwood, $3.75, just holding that pre and post for round 14 there. Where are you sitting?
This is the biggest price you're going to get for the Cats. I think their form is on the up. I'm all in on the Cats. I love what they're doing. The inclusion of Jack Henry back into the back half, to my eye, seems like it's really solidified them. We'll see if Hoyney backs me up on that, but I've got the Cats going all the way.
Interesting, the Bulldogs are $8 when they're not even in the 8 at the moment.
A lot of confidence there for the doggies as well. Plenty of money coming through from them. They're the rising star market, Kate. You've spoken a bit about this the last few weeks.
Yeah, I've been big on Levi Ashcroft for quite some time now, and I do realise that he's pushed out slightly in the market from round 14 to post round 14, but I still think for me he is the favourite and by quite some way to win the Rising Star.
I'd have Connor O'Sullivan second. I'd have him a lot shorter than $10.
I actually don't mind the $2.50 there as a price, considering how I think he should be $1.80 around that sort of range as well. Now, there are 1,000 Brownlow trackers out there, but only one of them takes things like hair colour into account.
Yeah.
Brownie, take us away.
Let's go into the Brownlow tracker, and I've trademarked this week. So Jordan Dawson is 1 vote clear from Bailey Smith. Nick Dacos obviously had the bye. Caleb Sarong had him in for 3 votes on the weekend. Look, Bailey Smith, this round is very interesting because Jordan Dawson had 24. Does he get 2 votes? The only other player to get more was 28 with Jarman Impey, and then Caleb Sarong gets the 3. Could be a Brownlow shaping round.
As we sit on this page for just a second, the Essendon versus Geelong game was an interesting one when it comes to Brownlow, because I want to get your thoughts.
That's what I just said.
Cameron had 6, Smith had 41, and Holmes had 36.
And kicked a goal.
Kicked a goal. Where are you putting the 3-2-1 out of those?
3 to Holmes, which I believe would be what you've done.
Yep, and the coaches' votes matched that up. They gave 3 to Holmes. I think Jeremy Cameron, unluckily, probably gets 1. But Connor Ozee, I want to point out, he is $67. I think he is voting all the way through at the moment. Look, he could have quite easily got 2 yesterday, but I gave the 3 to Miss Georgiades, I gave 2 to Horn Francis and 1 to Rosie, but Rosie could have quite easily got the 2, and he could be 16, so George Shield all the way down at 12.
$251. See, I just don't trust the way the voting has been in the past. When you talk about noticeable guys, the way that Holmes used the ball was far better than anyone else. But I will be surprised if it is not Bailey Smith 3 votes in that game.
Yeah, I would too. It tends to be a slightly surface level voting system, the way it's set up at the minute. And Baz, a lot of reputation. He's got the headband. He does stand out. But on the eye, Max Holmes was clearly the best player on the ground.
I think it would be slightly different if Holmes was in and under, dishing out and then hitting the scoreboard. But he is as electric as Bailey Smith when he gets the ball and breaks line. So I think that is also eye-catching. But yeah, I think it definitely does play a part in whose looks the way that they look, who gets sort of more, I guess, credit or more hype leading into the game as well, which is unfortunate because it should be an award that's based on who's the best on the
ground. And in a low-scoring game, Adelaide Hawthorn, Jordan Dawson only had 24, but the next best was 28, so everybody else was under him, so he has to get votes. The umpires look at the disposal. I don't care what they say. I think they look at the disposals post-game.
Yeah.
Well, Brownie, someone is banging on the door violently right now, and I think I know who it is. It's Daniel Hoyne from Champion Data. Daniel Hoyne in the house for Champion Data, and we're going to crack right into it because there is a name that is on the lips of everyone talking Brownlow, talking best player in the competition, and I refuse to believe that anyone at the beginning of the year picked this name.
No, I would be surprised if anyone had Ed Richards as the game's best player heading into this season. But the reality is right now at round 14, 2025, he is by far and away the game's best player, and he's actually having the highest rated season that we've seen since Dustin Martin in 2017.
That's a good stat.
So Lee Matthews came out and had that comment about Dusty, probably the greatest season on record. What this guy is doing is absolutely off the charts. So our player ratings system is our go-to, right? So if you get a 15 AFL player rating game, that's all Australian level. If you get a 20 AFL player rating game, that's out of this world. So keep that 20 in mind. He's had 8 20-plus rating games in 13 matches. Our rating system's been going for 15 years. Do you know the guys that have done that at round 13? Gary Ablett, Patrick Dangerfield, Dustin Martin and Marcus Bontempelli. They're the only ones that have done that 8 times or more at this stage of a season. And how he's not really up there in Brownlow conversation has got me completely bamboozled because, as I said, there is no one in this competition that's anywhere near as damaging and as impactful as what this guy is.
Does it turn into votes, though? So Kate and I were divided on the weekend. So she gave Ed Richards 3, I gave him 1. So I thought Bailey Dale might have got the 3 for his 36. Yeah. I believe the umpires see the stats. I thought Kennedy, 29 and 2, so I had Ed Richards for 1. I've got him voting in about 6 games, but a lot of 1s. So I've got him for 1-3. Does it come into votes?
To be fair, when I did those votes after the game on Thursday, there was such comprehensive victory from the Bulldogs that it was very hard to work out. But he had something like 13 score involvements, 10 clearances. I just thought his impact on the game was slightly better than the others. But it's one of those things that if a player gets 36, they often get the 3 votes. But I think he had more impact on the game, and that's the thing that he's doing. He's impacting. He might not get a whole lot of it, but what he does get, he impacts.
So there's no player that's using the ball better than what Ed Richards is in the competition, and by a long way. And then how he impacts the game through how he's winning it is top 25 in the competition. So the history component of the Brownlow is going to be really interesting because he hasn't.
Say about history,
the umpires don't know what you know, though. So the umpires wouldn't know all the stats you've just given us. Is that fair?
Well, hopefully they're watching this show and they're aware of what's going on.
They can't go back in time and go, he was the highest rated player outside Patrick Dangerfield and Dustin Martin and Gary Ablett.
Yeah. So you can get that example on Thursday night with Bailey Dale because Bailey Dale did stand out as well, up there with Ed Richards, the outsider, easy to identify. But I just think it's a really interesting case study because the dusty 2017 season stood out front of mind. And this one right here is up there with what he's doing.
Back him anyway, I think now.
$34. That's extraordinary by you. You've come in with some stink over the last few weeks. That's an excellent bit of trivia.
I've been holding on to that for 4 days.
Just a quick one. With all this sort of talk, you could start a team right now. You're taking Ed Richards or you're taking Nick Dacos?
Nick Dacos.
There we go. So we're still saying Nick Dacos is a better player overall, but right now Ed Richards is playing very good footy. Kate?
I'm taking Ed Richards.
Ooh.
I just love the guy. I think he's phenomenal. I think the game against Port down in Ballarat was one of the highest rated games for an individual player in a long, long time. It was a 30-plus game, and I just think his impact, he's been the difference. He's gone in there and just owned the Bulldogs midfield.
And then just one last one on him. And O'Sheen Mullen went to him in round 11, and O'Sheen did as good a job as he could possibly do. And Richards walks away with 30 and 2 goals and almost got him over the line. So he can get it done in multiple ways.
What about the Lions?
Yeah, so I always think it's really interesting. We talk a lot on this show, the big picture, looking ahead to the end of the season and the profile that you have in place, more often than not will stack up with success. And at this stage last year, they were 6-6 and a draw and 13th on the ladder. But really, their profile suggested at that stage of the season, don't panic. Like, they're doing so much well, and we're all probably...
They kept telling us that too.
Yeah, absolutely. and you can see it there, like top 4, top 5, top 6 in all key areas that go with the game of footy. But I reckon we've mentioned on here a couple of times this year that what they're doing at the moment is not horrendous at all. But it's been mid-table from round 1 to round 6 to round 10 and now to round 14. So at some stage, that mid-table profile is going to have to change. Otherwise, you'll be surprised if we're not sitting back here in September and going, okay, well, they got knocked out first week of finals or second week of finals. Well, it was pretty obvious because that's what they had been from pretty much start to finish. Whereas last year, as I said, when they were 13th on the ladder, right now that profile suggested hold the line, things should go okay, and it did. Right now, things just need to amp up a little bit to get back into contention with Geelong and Collingwood.
And they lose Payne in the back half, who's going to be a huge loss because the domino effect is that Andrews is probably going to have to go and actually play on a body. They've been trying their best to free him up. He's amazing at patrolling the back half. At what point in the back half of the season do we need to see an uptick before we can actually say, do you know what, I'm not sure it's their year?
Well, I always hear a lot of people say, they'll flick the switch at round 20, round 21. I think that's the biggest load of rubbish of all time. I think that by that stage of the season, you are who you are. So if we're talking about that profile being exactly the same as what it is in 6 weeks' time, Well, that's Brisbane, the 2025 version, not the 2024 version. So now's time post-bye. Big challenge this Friday night, but I'm more interested, post-bye, can they actually turn their profile around from a mid-table to a top 4 team like a lot of us think that they are.
What about the Cats are flying? The importance of Jack Henry, though, is on display.
Yeah, and I very rarely step into the individual side of things of just how important one particular individual is. I think it's more of a collective. But you can't help but actually take notice of what this team has done with Jack Henry in the team this year and what he's done without them. So in the 10 games that he's played this year, their ability to defend the opposition, but more importantly, the turnover game, which we talk about a lot, 18 of the 19 premiers have been top 3 in that, they are absolutely bulletproof with him in there. The 5-game period where he was out, only West Coast were easy to score against off the back of turnover. And I'm interested to get your take, Zach, as well, because I think the turnover side of things, you're relying on your system and your leaders behind the footy to be able to set things up and point and guide the overall system to be able to come in and cover. Without him there in that 5-week period, things got exposed. We saw the GWS game, with Jesse Hogan getting a lot of walk-in goals. Without him there, since he's been there, it looks absolutely bulletproof, as I said.
His 2021 season at the Cats was unbelievable. He didn't play the first game through selection, came in, finished second in the best and fairest, and that was him announcing himself. We knew internally how important he was then. At the start of this season, he played the first 4 games, I think, before he got injured. I thought, and I think he will be leading the Cats best and fairest comfortably come round 4, misses that stretch of games, and we saw the impact it had. And I think since he's come back, he's been extraordinary. Again, the numbers back it up. He's one of the best in the game.
Because that profile there that we've seen with Jack Henry, if that persists for the rest of the season, shut the gate on the year. They're not getting beaten with that. Because to be plus 28 points a game off turnover,
I like it.
plus 28 points a game on turnover.
You get angry with us.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm fired up to that. Well, yeah, we're going to have a bit of energy. That plus 28 points a game off turnover, the most important aspect of the game, that holds for a season. You're not losing the flag. It's as simple as that. There's a long way to go in this season, but that holds a line with what this guy's done off the back of what they do offensively.
I love it. That's why we get him in.
I'll tell you what, this is passionate speak for you. The thing that I'm latching onto is Ed Richards, $34 for the Brownlow at the moment. Thank you, Daniel Hoyney. We're going to be back soon with Quick Hands.
Small Man Productions presents Man Getting Hit by Football.
So there's a producer getting paid far too much to put that together.
Have you been in the edit suite?
Yeah. It was in the edit suite. It'd be a video purely of me. I'll never do it for anyone else. You know that.
I like it.
It's time now for Quick Hands. Let's jump into it. The hot topics at the moment. Mitch Georgiades is ready to dominate the competition.
Oh, if he was at a club that could feed him some very good entries inside forward 50, he's his most targeted player, 9.5 a game. Tom Lynch is up there as well, but he's almost, but he won't. I think Port Adelaide don't have the team to give it to him.
Yep.
Yes, and on that, the team to give it to him or the team that takes away another key defender. So if he gets another key forward down there that is really threatening, at the moment it's him or nothing, which is why he's the most targeted player. He gets 2 defenders at times. He's great on a lead, but when the ball's on his head, doesn't quite have that craft just yet and doesn't have anyone else to take any attention away from him.
He would be the perfect second tall. You're absolutely spot on. If there was someone else to divert attention, I think he'd be just about unstoppable, but he's going to get the best defender every week and the service isn't great, as you said.
Similar to what we saw with Norton when Darcy came back last week.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Darcy, Sam Darcy is the most valuable player in the game right now.
Yes, and for reasons that aren't normally the ones that are highlighted. Yes, great above his head, great on the lead, great inside forward 50, but his kicking around the ground is exactly why he is the most important player in the competition. He gets all the way up to the flank, takes a mark that's a relieving mark outside of their D50, then he rolls left or right and laces out the forward that's waiting for him. Most valuable player in the comp for me.
And he's got a fair dose of aggression about him. Yeah. Like, his dad was angry, but he didn't have the aggression that his son's got, like proper aggression. I think his dad just had the anger.
And it's something that you would not, if you see him off field, the way that he talks, the way
beautiful
that
young man.
You would never expect that at all. The Giants' win has restored faith.
Nah, Nah, they're cactus for me. I don't see him making the 8. Now, one team is going to fall out. As we said, the Doggies currently sitting outside the 8, which is amazing, given a lot of people think they're going to make a big tilt at the flag. I'm still not quite buying what the Giants are selling.
Jamara Hugel-Hagen, Jeff Hugel, just gets a shout out, will play for the Dogs this year.
He will play for the Dogs this year, but he will play VFL for the Dogs this year. So I think this is a win-win for the Bulldogs and for Jamara Hugel-Hagen coming back to training this week. I think he increases his stocks at the VFL, plays all the way through. That increases his price. It increases his availability to other teams. So I think it's very smart.
And Jeffrey Hugel making a comeback.
And Jeff, a massive shout out to Jeff Hugel as well. A fantastic man. That's been In the Back Pocket. See you on Thursday.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.